Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video. And the last two videos, we took a look at the best and worst cards for every single class in the history of Hearthstone. And a lot of people in their comments are like, Zeddy, you forgot about the neutral cards. What about the neutral cards? I'm like, I didn't forget. I'm gonna make more content, more videos, you know? Spam your inbox with more stuff. But no, it's can't really quantify the best neutral card with just one card. We gotta make a top 10 list. So today's video, we're gonna do the top 10 best neutral cards of all time, and tomorrow we'll take a look at the worst neutral cards of all time. So make sure to hit that sub button to get notified when that goes live. But let's take a look at the best of the best. And again, we're going to take in consideration pre-nerf versions, like the most powerful cards at any given time. Let's face it, a lot of stuff that's been nerfed used to be insanely powerful and should be considered for the list. So let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the 10 best cards ever in the neutral set. So starting off at number 10, I gotta go with the aggro charge minion himself, Leeroy Jenkins. He's 5-man in this picture, but he used to be 4, but still even at 5, ridiculous. One of the best charge minions ever. You could shadow step it, you could just put it in any aggro deck to burst your opponent down. You could build combos around it. Reno Lock used to do like faceless, power overwhelming combo. The card just saw play in a ton of decks until it was Hall of Famed, and still sees plenty of play in Wild and plenty of aggro decks. You can even go vintage Reno Lock if you want with it, but Leeroy, one of the best flavored cards in the game and one of the most powerful neutral legendaries ever made. At number 9, we have Lotheb, 5-mana 5/5 legendary battle cry. Your opponent's spells cost 5 more the next turn, and this card has been a staple basically ever since it's been introduced. It just locks out so many decks where you just get a big board, you play Lotheb, they can't do anything, or you lock out a combo. You know, you're playing even a Reno Lock. Some people run Lotheb to stall out like a Raza Priest or a Quest Mage, something along those lines. It's just an incredibly flexible card and just slots into so many different situations. Hell, even like Luna's Pocket Galaxy Mage, brand Lotheb. Your opponent can never do anything. You keep bouncing it and just doing absurd stuff. Incredibly powerful to be able to negate spells is such a good, strong effect. And even when you see it like on a 2-minute 3/2, that card still saw play. Just think about how incredibly powerful Lotheb has been. Number 8, we have an old god, the original N'Zoth, not the new N'Zoth that's not so great, but the old N'Zoth that would resummon Death Rattle minions that had died this game. Staple in just, I don't know how many decks throughout Standard and Wild's history. Just an incredibly powerful effect when you can bring back cards like Sludge Belcher and Death Lords and Void Lords and Weasel Tunnelers or whatever you want to do. Just absolutely ridiculous card. One of my favorites of all time too. It's just what a 10 drop feels like it should be in a Hearthstone. Just an insane value bomb. It actually feels like it should cost the maximum amount of mana. Just an incredibly powerful card that still sees play to this day in Wild, and man do I love him golden. It's just an amazingly awesome card. Number 7, we have Zilliax, the mech, everybody's favorite mech. It's got Divine Shield, Lifesteal, Rush, Magnetic, all that good stuff. It's only a 3/2, but that healing that can magneticize and do all sorts of good stuff is just one of the most powerful cards that never feels broken. It's just one of the more balanced, great cards in the history of Hearthstone. Not a lot of people hate it. Some people do, but it was just one of those really incredible, powerful cards that saw play in like even in aggro decks, mid-range control, you name it. This card popped up in those archetypes. Of course, it still sees play in Wild today in plenty of decks. An amazing card, incredibly powerful, and is just one card I kind of wish was just a classic card. I miss me some Zilliax. Number 6, we have one of many Highlander cards on the list, and that's Reno Jackson, the original Highlander card. 6-mana 4/6. If your deck contains no duplicates, restore your hero to full health. Get that 29 heal against that aggressive aggro deck on turn 6, and it feels amazing. It's spawned the Highlander archetype forever and ever in Wild because, well, healing to full is an incredibly powerful effect, and Reno does the trick. If you're playing a Highlander deck in Wild, you're playing this card. If it was in Standard, you play it. Incredibly powerful, but never game-breaking unless, of course, you draw it against an aggro deck and they're out of steam. But these days, don't even run out of cards. Reno's not the end of the deal, so it's not the top-rated Highlander card on this list for that reason, but still incredibly powerful and one of the more iconic cards in Hearthstone history. At number 5, we have Another Highlander card in Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, the unnerfed version, the original version. 0 mana dragons, including itself. This card, if you played it on 9, you basically were winning the game unless you low rolled the dragons. And the fact that it could chain itself could just create ridiculous things. It's 9 mana, the only thing holding it back. But even then, it's just, why would you not play this in a Highlander deck? It's pure brute powerful. Like, I don't think a card in terms of mana cost has ever been more powerful in the history of Hearthstone than this card. Just pure brute stats, mana cheat. In Wild you get like Emerus or all these ridiculous combination of cards. It's just unbelievably busted. One of the most powerful cards ever, and it didn't stay this version very long. It was eventually nerfed that it couldn't get itself, and then the Discover thing happened to everything eventually, and then it was made that dragons cost 1, and even at 1 it still sees play today. So you can just imagine how incredibly powerful this card was with 0 mana dragons. And why not just finish off the Highlander cards with number 4, Zephyrus. You know, wish you that perfect card, 2 mana 3/2 elemental. He'll give you Temple Enforcer or give you Tyrion, but a lot of the times he'll give you that board clear you need, give you that heal you need, give you that bloodlust for lethal, whatever lethal reach you have. Sometimes he could do some pretty cool Shadow Madness plays. He sometimes can surprise you, but Zephyrus is so good that Highlander decks in Standard exist just to run him. No other card. No, people will cut the Dragon Queen, they'll cut the Elise, they'll cut whatever. They'll run Zephyrus. They'll have a bunch of duplicates in the deck. They'll run Zephyrus because they draw a bunch. This card just is unbelievably powerful to give you that board clear, to give you that reach, to give you that value. This guy has just been a staple in, I don't know how many decks since it's been introduced. Just an incredibly powerful card. And imagine if it actually gave you the perfect card every time, how even more powerful it would be. But even then, even with that whole, like, you know, Zephyrus, you're being an idiot, you screwed up. Even with that, it's still one of the most powerful cards in Hearthstone history. At number 3, we have 2 cards. I gotta lump them together because it's Bakugane again, the hero power altering cards from the Witchwood. You got Baku, that if you have odd cost cards, you get an upgraded hero power. And you have Gen, where if you have even cost cards, you get a 1 mana hero power. Baku is definitely more powerful than Gen. The upgraded hero powers have obviously spawned a lot more powerful decks with Odd Paladin, Odd Warrior, Odd Rogue, Odd Demon Hunter, all that good stuff. But, like, you know, you still have even Shaman, even Lock, a lot of even decks that still weren't bad. Even Rogue saw a little bit of play, but, you know, these cards were just so incredibly powerful, so meta warping, so defining that they were Hall of Famed a year early and still define a good chunk of the wild meta to this day. Even with like 2 or 2.5 years of power creep since, these cards are just so incredibly powerful. To get that consistent hero power is just something you can never undersell of how powerful that is. And Gen and Baku are definitely worthy of being this high on the list. Number 2, we have one of the sleepers in Hearthstone history, biggest sleepers in Hearthstone history, but Corridor Creeper, the unnerfed Corridor Creeper. 7 mana 5/5. It gets 1 cheaper for every minion that's died that's friendly or enemy as long as it's in your hand. And this guy would cost 0 very early in the game. Patches was relevant. You had a lot of wide boards going on. So yes, Corridor Creeper was incredibly powerful. You could buff it up with Killiseth. You could just do absurd stuff. And it was one of the it got nerfed pretty quickly. It got nerfed to a 2/5, which it is now, and even still playable. You still see Corridor Creeper in like a Valdex, Odd Paladin, even at a 2/5, still saw plenty of play. But yeah, 0 mana 5/5 with a beast tag where you could get like Tundra Rhino combos, and just one of the most busted cards ever. And you know, it's just, I still have nightmares of getting slammed by Corridor Creepers, and of course the amazing copy pasta, which I better see in the comments below, the amazing Twitch pasta about Corridor Creeper being that sleeper. Unbelievably powerful card and definitely worthy of the number 2 spot on the list. Before we get to number 1, I have a few honorable mentions. I'm going to list the Undertaker. I know this card was like part of one of the most prolific, most historic, dominant decks ever in Hearthstone, but if you look at it now today, it wouldn't do a heck of a lot in my honest opinion. I remember when they had like the World Championship thing in the Tavern Brawl and you could play the Undertaker, that deck just felt bad compared to everything else. So yes, unnerfed Undertaker was really good back in the day, but in terms of power level compared to the other cards, I just don't think it would hold up very well to this day. Another honorable mentions are the Giants, Molten and Mountain Giant in particular. Molten Giant was like a staple on hand lock. You still see it in Dark Layer lock today. And Mountain Giants just showed up in a ton of different decks. Really powerful, very close to making the list. It was hard, but I had to give them the cut. But yeah, these Giants are just unbelievable staples, both Hall of Fame for that reason, and still pop up in Wild to this very day. Next is Carnivorous Cube, 5 mana 4/6. Battle Cry, you destroy a minion, Death Rattle, you summon 2 copies of it. Just one of the most powerful cards that never got nerfed. It was just incredibly flexible, incredibly powerful card, whether you're playing like Q-Block, even Odd Warrior ran it to like, you know, get your like Direhorn stuff and go into Fatigue. It's just really strong, insanely good card, fun to play, led to some insane moments, and definitely really close to making the list, but just not quite raw power level as the other ones. And last honorable mention for me is Bone Mare, originally 7 mana, 5/5, giving me +4/+4 in taunt, then to 8 mana. Really, really strong at 7. Really, really incredibly good card. But again, there's only 10 slots on this list, and I can't fit them all. Maybe we'll have to do another video of 10 more, because there's even cards like Prince Keleseth, the OG Dr. Boom. There's so many amazing cards, but I can't put them all on the list. Anyways, without further ado, number 1 most powerful card, neutral card in Hearthstone history has got to be Patches the Pirate, the 1 mana 1/1 pirate. It had charge, it doesn't anymore, but even if it didn't have charge, it'd probably still be number 1. But ridiculous pirate, you cheated out. It went face. Imagine with Keleseth, if Embiggen was, you know, if Embiggen could do it now, oh my god, that would be insane. But yeah, staple in every pirate deck, still run in every single aggressive token deck in WoW that wants to run just a copy of a pirate just to cheat this out. Thinning your deck, getting that board presence, getting that initiative was just incredible. It came in with Small Time Buccaneer, which is also a consideration for this list, but this guy lasted like, almost a year and over a year without getting nerfed, and it was just one of the most meta-defining cards ever. Saw it play in basically every deck until it got nerfed, and even now sees play in I don't know how many wild decks. Just a powerhouse. Patches, undisputed for me, number 1 most powerful neutral card of all time. So let me know in the comments below. I'm sure there'll be a lot of debate about this one, because there's so much subjective nature to this. There are so many amazing cards. I might have to make another list, I don't know, but let me know in the comments below what you agree, disagree with, what you think are the most powerful cards. Make sure to tune in tomorrow, where we'll take a look at the very worst of the neutral set, and there's some doozies there, so make sure to check that out. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.